conjuring evil spirits are wicked. Haitian Levite woman smothered son to ward off demons. Before I proceed, I want to give all the honor, glory, and praises to the Most High Yahawah and His only begotten Son YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elders at Great Millstone, taught with His truth through the Spirit. Single honors to the elect. Peace and bless to the 1/3, and to the confusion of faces in the four corners of the earth. Shalom. Now, I want to open up with this precept right here, because the title says, Mother murders her 6-year-old son, said God was ordering her to exorcise his demons. First and foremost, James chapter 1 verse 13 to 14. In this case, it's a woman, but the scripture says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lusts and enticed. And what made me bring that precept out too, and what you see on the right side of the screen, goes back to the woman. She actually is a Levite, a Haitian woman. I'm gonna try and pull up her picture really quick. And the way I found out she was a Levite, I looked up her name. Her name is Rhonda Polonese, and Polonese goes back to the French, hence the French quarters. And I did the etymology of the name Polonese, and it said it's a name that's usually found in Haiti. So now like I'm looking in my mind, it's kind of process. I'm like, wait a minute. So she's Haitian. Wait a minute. They go back to the Levites. And then she said that I said, no. This woman here is a conjurer. And I thought about Baron Samedi. Because if you think about the bayou down in Louisiana, a lot of them down there, they did with voodoo. Straight up, they did with voodoo. They let you know that. But Baron Samedi, he's known to be very rude, crude, known for smoking and drinking. Hence, think about down in New Orleans. You know, they love to party and drink, have a good time, right? But he has a respect for the dead. He's a conjurer. So whatever demon that she conjured up, it could not have been the Most High. It was not the Most High. You know, people think they're calling on a certain spirit, and they open up a portal or a realm, and then they become possessed. Remember, spirits need your body as a host in order for it to make its move. And I'm going to prove that. This is Acts chapter 19, verse 11 through 16. He was a cute little boy too, man. But who knows, remember what the scripture says. When has the innocent ever perished? So this is Acts chapter 19, verse 11 through 16. And God wrought special miracles by the hands of Paul. So Paul was only able to do the miracles by who? The Most High Yahawah. Okay. So that from his body, this is Acts chapter 19, verse 11 through 16, y'all. I'm on verse 12. So that from his body were brought unto the sick handkerchiefs or aprons, and the diseases departed from them, and the evil spirits went out of them. Then certain of the vagabond Jews, vagabond just means somebody who wanders, exorcists, took upon them to call over them which had evil spirits the name of the Lord Yahawashi, saying, we adjure you by Yahawashi whom Paul preacheth. And there were 7 sons of one Sceva, a Jew, and chief of the priests which did so. And another word for Jew, just Israelite. Here comes the point. And the evil spirit answered and said, Yahawashi I know, and Paul I know, but who are you? But who are ye? And the man in whom the evil spirit was leaped on them, and overcame them, and prevailed against them, so that they fled out of the house naked and wounded. Let that sink in. Right? Paul, by the power of the Most High, was able to heal people and ward off evil spirits. These people thought they can call on the same name, YAHAWASHI, and they can do the same practices. But remember, you only going to do the will of the Lord, but they want to do it for what? Their own lusts. They were tempted by their own lusts. So they try to conjure up YAHAWASHI spirit on the left-hand side. What happened? They said, YAHAWASHI I know, Paul we know, but who are you? Oh, we finna hop on your ass. So that's what happened. This woman tried to conjure up a spirit to ward off demons that she says on her son, and Baron Samedi showed up. Pretty much death showed up. You know, not a laughing matter, but I'm just saying in general. So I'm gonna read another precept. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 10 through 11, and I'm gonna get to the article. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. That's literally and figuratively, meaning like you're sacrificing your child, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, Miss Cleo, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. I love those words. Oh, I love all those words. I love those words like divination, enchanter, witch, charmer, consulter with familiar spirits, wizard, necromancer. But damn well, I'm not going to be one of those things. You're third. Listen here. We are physical beings. Spiritual beings living in this physical world. You don't want to see what's on the other side in this physical body. You may go crazy. You may go crazy, for real. You think about this, and I said this in another video. You know how children always, you have movies where children are always the ones that's talking to a spirit. Remember, children who are born, you think about it, they just came from heaven. Okay, there was a spirit. They just came from the spiritual realm. Now they're housed in these physical bodies. So even little babies, sometimes they can see little things that we can't see, right? But anyways, the point of the matter is that we shouldn't be trying to harness or conjure up any evil, wicked spirits. Okay. So, wait a minute. All right. So let's get to the article. In a harrowing incident in Fort Pierce, Florida, a 6-year-old boy, Ramel Pierre, was found dead in his home, allegedly killed by his mother, Rwanda Polynice, during a ritual she described as an attempt to, quote, exorcise demons, unquote, from his body. So they say he was absent from school since May 14. They say the tragic discovery was made on May 30th. And when the St. Lucie County Sheriff's, hold on, Salaki, y'all forgive me. This happened right down here. Shit, I'm in Tampa. The St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office conducted a welfare check leading to the grim finding of the boy's body in his bedroom, wrapped in cloth with only his face exposed. Yeah, man, this is really a ritual, you know? So, I'm gonna keep going. And it says she was charged with second-degree murder. I gotta read this article, y'all, because you gotta understand some spiritual things that happen to failure to report a death and willfully touching or moving a body. Okay, the Sun reported that her behavior during interactions with law enforcement, such as refusing to remove her sunglasses indoors, was noted as, quote, odd, unquote, and contributed to perceptions of her indifference to her son's death. The reason why I said that, because you notice there's a lot of rap artists, right? And movie stars, they wear a lot of glasses. They wear a lot of sunglasses. But one thing that always got me, you're doing an interview inside of a building with sunglasses on. Why? Remember, there's a saying that the eyes are the window to the soul. And whenever you shake a man's hand, they say you look him in his eyes. And it tells you a lot. There's even a saying, it's a saying that's well known around like the red pill community. Like women who are promiscuous, that have like 50 bodies or 100 bodies, they just have this 1,000-yard stare. Like there's just lifeless in their eyes. They're talking, they're laughing, they're moving, they're driving, but their eyes are just like still. You know? So yeah, your eyes are the windows to your soul. But she had glasses on. But anyways, keep going on. The community and school officials expressed profound grief over Ramel's death, with Sheriff Del Toro describing the boy was someone who, quote, lit the room up, unquote, and was loved by many. So they said a lot of the people, they are, it's a tragic loss to them. You're really going through it. But, you got to understand. And there's more to this too. She allegedly checked on her son. But, well, hold on, wait a minute. Why is this covered up? Get this shit out of here. Salakia, hold on. According to reports from the U.S. son, Polynese, 41, confessed to investigators that she believed her son was possessed by a, quote, spirit, unquote, or, quote, enemy, unquote, and that she was acting on divine instructions. Divine instructions that she was acting on. Once again, I believe this woman to be a conjurer. You gotta remember, the Levites were the priests. Okay? When you're thinking about voodoo, that goes back to who? The Haitians. Who had the closest connection with the Most High, with the spirit realm? The priests. And remember, we also had the Urim and the Thummim. So if there was an incident and no one was around to witness it, they would go to what today people would consider like a crystal ball, and it would give a reflection of what happened in a more modern, in a more somewhat imitating manner would be the 8-ball. Remember growing up, you had the 8-ball, you'd be like, you would just say something. Do you think that Margaret likes me or something? You'll shake the 8-ball, then it'll give you a question like, maybe. You'll be like, okay, I got a chance. You know what I'm saying? It's something like that to that extent, Okay. But anyways, so getting back to it, she claimed that God Father had been communicating with her through dreams, directing her to rid her son of demons. Remember what I said. I opened up with this. James chapter 1 verse 13 through 14. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed, in this sense hers. The affidavit details that Polynese admitted to suffocating Ramel by placing her hand over his mouth while he was kicking and screaming in bed, believing this act would expel the demonic presence. She reportedly told authorities she was not in control of her vessel. See? Remember when those men tried to ward off the demons by calling on YAHAWASHI, but the evil spirits was like, we don't know you, and they jumped on the men. They jumped off that man and jumped on those men, those priests. So it's like, if you're doing a ritual with your son, you're opening up a portal, and embarrassing media could have showed up. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm saying like an evil spirit could have showed up and took your son's life, and you could have been the vessel. Understand? Now here's where it gets a little for real. Sheriff Richard Del Toro noted that Polynese exhibited erratic behavior during the investigation, oscillating between laughter and tears, which investigators described as insincere. Oscillating, you know what oscillating means? Remember that damn fan that your grandma had that stood up and it would sway back and forth in like a 90-degree angle? I'm sorry, like a 180-degree angle? That's oscillating. Like an oscillating fan. It'll turn, stop, then it'll turn back the other way, stop, then it'll turn back the other way, stop, and it'll turn. Yeah, that's oscillating. So in other words, she was going back and forth through different emotions. Yeah, this woman had spirits on her, like Legion. All right. So that's something else I wanted to show to y'all too. And also, she allegedly checked on her. Listen to this, y'all. Think about her mentality. She allegedly checked on her son's body daily for 12 days after his death on May 18th, believing he would come back once the demons were expelled. So once again, we're not dealing with no witches, no warlocks, none of that stuff. Okay? And with that being said, I'm closing out with these two. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 27. And man also or woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones, their blood shall be upon them. In Exodus 22, verse 18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So with that being said, I truly pray y'all was edifying, fed, stay in the spirit, don't fear it, just endure it. Ask for forgiveness, pray without ceasing, stay humble, remain diligent, come with Allah, shalom.